After my accident left me with facial scars, my stepdaughter asked me to skip her wedding because I'd ruin the photos. She said her real dad would walk her down the aisle instead. Now she's devastated I won't pay for her dream venue. Hello, Reddit I+ here. You ever have one of those moments where time stops? Not in a good way, like when you're watching a sunset with someone you love, but in that gut punch, can't breathe. Did I just hear that right? Kind of way? That happened to me 3 months ago. Let me start from the beginning. I'm a 48-year-old man. About 14 years ago, I married my wife, Claire. She had a daughter from a previous relationship. Her name's Emily. Emily was 10 when I met her. Her dad wasn't really around. He popped in every now and then with a gift or a broken promise. But it was me who was there at the school plays. Me who helped her with math homework, taught her to drive, and sat outside every gymnastics practice. I've never referred to her as my stepdaughter in everyday conversation. To me, she's just my daughter, my girl. Or at least she was. Things changed after my accident. About a year ago, I was in a pretty bad car wreck. Drunk driver ran a red light and plowed into my side. I survived, thankfully, but I came out of it with some nasty facial scars. No amount of surgery could fix everything, and honestly, I stopped caring about how I looked after a while. I was just grateful to be alive. But Emily cared. She got engaged about 6 months after my accident. We were over the moon. Claire cried. I hugged Emily, told her how proud I was, how happy I was for her. She asked me to help plan the wedding, said she wanted it to be the event of the year. I even offered to pay for the venue. She'd always dreamed of getting married at this old vineyard about an hour outside the city. Pricey, but I was prepared. She's my daughter. I was ready to give her the world. Then one afternoon, she asked if she could talk to me privately. She sat me down. Her voice was calm, almost too calm, and she said, I don't want you to be offended, but I was thinking maybe you should skip the wedding photos, or the ceremony altogether. I blinked. I asked her what she meant, and she said it again, this time slower, like I hadn't heard her right the first time. It's just, the photos are really important to me, and I don't want them ruined. You know, with the scarring and everything, I want everything to look perfect. Ruined. That's the word she used. Not marred, not different, not memorable. Ruined, she added almost as an afterthought. Dad, my real dad, is flying in. I asked him to walk me down the aisle instead. And there it was, the knife, clean between the ribs. My mouth went dry. I asked her if she realized what she was saying. She just shrugged, like it was a business decision, like she was being reasonable. I didn't yell, I didn't storm out. I just said, okay. I went upstairs, sat on the edge of the bed, and stayed there for hours. Claire tried to talk to her, tried to explain how cruel that was. Emily said she wasn't being cruel, she was just being practical. She wanted perfect photos, and she didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but also, people would stare. Over the next few weeks, I quietly pulled out of everything. I canceled the reservation at the vineyard. I called the caterer and florist I'd put deposits down for. I didn't make a scene. I just stepped back. Emily didn't even notice. Or if she did, she didn't care. Until last week. She called me in tears. The vineyard was booked solid. The cheaper venue she picked last minute had a leaky roof and bad lighting. Her fiancé's family wasn't contributing financially like they promised. She needed help. She said she was desperate. She asked if I'd still pay for the vineyard, that I'd be making her dreams come true. And I said, no. I told her I love her. I always will. But love isn't a blank check, and it's not a doormat. I reminded her what she said to me, that I'd ruin her wedding. She tried to backtrack, said she was nervous, insecure, didn't mean it, that I shouldn't take it personally, but I did. I do. I'm human. I bled for that girl, sacrificed for her, and she cast me aside the second I didn't fit her perfect little Instagram fairy tale. Claire's been torn up. She's trying to keep the peace, but even she admitted, Emily's actions were beyond hurtful. We're in therapy now, not because of the accident, not because of my scars, but because my heart's got a bigger wound. The kind you don't see in a mirror. Here's what hurts the most. I would have given her the vineyard. I would have stood in the shadows during every photo if she'd just let me be there. I didn't need the spotlight. I just wanted to walk her down the aisle. I just wanted to see my girl get her happy ending. But she made her choice. Now, she gets to live with it. And so do I. A week passed after I told her no. Complete silence. No texts, no calls, no I'm sorry or even I hate you. Just nothing. Claire tried to bridge the gap. She'd drop little updates at dinner like, Emily's thinking of changing the colors again, or she's not sure about the cake anymore. I'd just nod and keep chewing. It was like someone was narrating a stranger's wedding. Then, about 2 weeks before the big day, I got a knock on the door. It was Emily. I'll admit, my heart did that dumb thing where it jumped, thinking maybe this was the moment. Maybe she came to apologize. Maybe she realized she went too far. Nope. She handed me an envelope and said, "I figured you might want to see the seating chart, in case you change your mind." Her voice was stiff, practiced. No eye contact. I opened it after she left. I wasn't on it. Not the ceremony, not the reception, not even at the kids' table. I was a ghost. Claire and I argued that night. She said I was being cold. I said I was being honest. There's a difference. I told her I spent years loving a child who, the moment she wanted a perfect photo, tossed me like expired milk. Claire cried. I didn't. I was fresh out of tears. Then the wedding day came. Claire went. Alone. I stayed home. I grilled a steak, drank a glass of wine, and watched reruns of a sitcom I used to love when Emily was a kid. I won't lie. Around the time I knew they'd be walking down the aisle, I did have to go outside. I didn't want to be near mirrors. I didn't want to think about what I should have been doing. A few days after the wedding, Emily posted the photos. They were stunning, objectively. The venue was still rustic and charming, even if it wasn't the vineyard. She looked radiant. Her biological dad was smiling proudly as he walked her down the aisle, hand in hand. But then, people started commenting. One of her cousins, bless her heart, tagged me in a comment under one of the family portraits. "Where's the man who raised you?" And suddenly there were more. "Didn't your stepdad help pay for this? I thought he was like your real dad. Wait, what happened to him? I always loved seeing pictures of you two." Emily deleted the whole album. And then, she came over. Not to apologize. No, not yet. Not quite. She came over with her makeup still half on, tear streaks down her face. A hoodie pulled up, like she was trying to disappear into it. She sat at our kitchen table, and finally, looked me in the eye, and said the words I had been waiting months to hear. I messed up. She didn't sugarcoat it, didn't blame stress or nerves or aesthetics. She owned it. I wanted it all to look perfect. I wanted people to see the pictures and be jealous. I didn't want anything to remind me of hard stuff, of the accident. But then I realized, every time I looked at those pictures I didn't see you, and it didn't feel like my wedding day anymore, it felt fake. She was crying, not the crocodile tears I'd seen before. These were quiet, heavy. The kind you cry when the regret finally catches up to your ego. She pulled out a small, wrapped box and pushed it across the table. Inside was a photo album, a blank one, except the first page. On it, she had glued an old photo of us. She's about 14, in braces, and I'm holding a fish we'd caught on a camping trip, both of us grinning like idiots. Beneath it, in shaky handwriting, it said, "To the man who taught me what love looks like. Will you help me fill the rest of this album?" I didn't say anything at first. I just closed the album and sat back. I could have said a lot. I could have talked about pain, about scars, about betrayal. But in that moment, I saw the little girl I raised, who just made the biggest mistake of her life, and finally had the courage to face it. So I nodded and said, "I'll think about it. We've been rebuilding since then. Slowly. I don't trust easily anymore. But I do believe people can grow. The scars on my face aren't going anywhere. Neither are the ones in my heart. But maybe that album? Maybe that's where healing starts.